So this is a psychological question more than a fiqhi one. The parent is saying, how do I explain to my, I'm assuming, very young children that we are not celebrating and the other culture is celebrating? So I think that this is a question that is very sensitive to the age of the child. And if you ask those who are more age appropriate, this is not a fiqh question, but I'll give you some generic advice. If they're very young, I think one of the best ways is Surah Al-Ikhlas. Because this is a beautiful, to the point surah. We explain Lam yalid walam yulad walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. We explain that every ummah, every nation has its rituals, has its festivals. We are Muslims, we have our 2 Eids. If they're a little bit older, we can present to them evidences from the Quran and from the Sunnah about this issue. Of them is that when the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina and he found they were celebrating 2 festivals, he said that every nation has this festival. Allah has given you 2 festivals better than this one, the Eid al-Adha and the Eid al-Fitr. And of course, of the reasons why we do not celebrate other religious festivals is because our Prophet ﷺ said, "Man tashabbaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum." Whoever imitates a group of people will be considered to be amongst them. And imitation that is forbidden, as I have mentioned before, and I will mention it in the future as well in a detailed lecture, the forbidden imitation is to imitate the rituals of another civilization and society. This is what is forbidden to do. Something that is unique to Buddhism, to Hinduism, to Christianity, to Judaism, something that is a sign of Buddhism, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, we cannot take that and then make it our sign, because that is unique to that faith tradition. So Christmas is clearly something that is a fundamental ritual and a fundamental festival that is associated with a faith tradition. It is not our faith tradition. And of course, by the way, we can even tell our teenagers a little bit more than this. We can tell them that even early Christians did not celebrate this holiday. In fact, this holiday was invented in the year 320 or so CE, or 350 CE. It was first introduced by Pope Julius I. Not even something the disciples did. In fact, many Christian researchers believe that Jesus was born in the spring season, not even in the winter season anyway. So this whole, even if he was born in the winter, doesn't mean. But the point is, this festival of December 25th, in fact, this festival does not originate in Christianity. This festival is pre-Christian, and it goes back to a holiday that was found in pagan Rome that is called Saturnalia. And this holiday was to mark the winter solstice, which is basically this season right now. And this season, of course, this is when the time changes. As you know, this is when the short days become the shortest, and then they start becoming more and more. And because of this, civilizations across the globe welcome that this is now essentially the beginning of the new season coming in. So we have the Celts, we have the ancient Nordics, we have and the ancient pagans of Rome. Multiple civilizations celebrated December 25th. Not early Christians, they didn't do this. However, when the Roman emperor converted to Christianity, they adopted certain pagan festivals, because as you all know, the Roman civilization used to be pagan up until around 300 or so, when the Emperor Constantine made Christianity a state religion and he himself converted to Christianity. Before this point in time, Christians were persecuted. In the same time frame, December 25th, which used to be a pagan festival, miraculously became a Christian festival. It was simply adopted, and it was then made into a Christian festival. And so, the point is, it's really, and of course, as we said, even the ancient Nordic gods. And by the way, a lot of the symbolism and the rituals and the icon and iconographs is actually coming from other pagan civilizations. So, for example, Santa Claus, they say, he is actually Odin of the ancient Nordic gods. He is the god Odin, and is being, basically iterated until it becomes Santa Claus. And other things, the wreath and the heart symbol of the fir tree, all of this, it comes from certain pagan symbols. None of it is coming from Jesus and the disciples of Jesus. And even if it did, by the way, come from the disciples of Jesus, we say that's their religion. We have our own faith tradition. The bottom line, we as Muslims, we have very clear about this. Our Sharia does not allow us to actively participate and celebrate other religious festivals. any festival that is a symbol and an icon of another civilization, of another faith tradition, in which other gods are worshipped, we are not allowed to participate, and we are not allowed to import those icons. No Muslim should have a fir tree in their house. No Muslim should have special lights and decorations around this time frame, because لِكُلِّ قَوْمٍ عِيد. Every nation has its Eid. لِكُلٍّ جَعَلْنَا مِنْكُمْ شِرْعَةً وَمِهَاجًا. Allah is saying every one of you has their own way and their own methodology. And it's not just us, by the way. Even most of the Orthodox rabbis, most of the conservative rabbis, they prohibit their followers of the Jewish tradition from celebrating the symbols of Christmas, because again, this is something that is not cultural, it is religious. These prohibitions, of course, they are separate. When they become cultural, then we can talk a different issue, and I have given other lectures, maybe one day we'll talk about them. 4th of July, for example, and other things which is no religion, you cannot apply these hadith over there, because there's no religion and there's no ibadah being done. And in my humble opinion, those types of celebrations don't come under these hadith at all. What comes under these traditions that are forbidding is when you take a festival that is a holy day, and you then adopt it and you then follow it. This is not something that is allowed. They have their Eid, we have our Eid. And how you tell your children this best, it is psychology. I can give you generic advice. I also have 4 children and they're at all age levels. I've tried my best. But in the end of the day, how you teach to a child is more psychological related than fiqh. I can give you generic advice, but we cannot adopt these festivals as our own.
There may be certain non-Muslims who may not understand and who may feel offended. And I give the reply that in our festivals, we don't force any of the non-Muslims that they should follow our festival. Imagine if a Hindu who is a vegetarian, I would not expect him to come and wish me during Bakri Eid or Eidul Adha to wish me happy Eid, because he doesn't believe in eating goat, eating meat, eating beef. So I would not be offended if he does not come and wish me happy Eidul Adha. Imagine if I tell all the Hindus, even though you are a vegetarian, which many are, you should come and wish me on Eidul Adha, they will be offended. How can they wish me on Eidul Adha? And we know that in Eidul Adha we sacrifice a goat or we sacrifice a cow, and this they think is wrong. So I respect their views. So similarly, a non-Muslim should respect my views. I expect the Christian to respect my views.